This matter is before the court this afternoon on allegations that Miss Kearney violated the court's personal protective order granted in favor of Miss Jones. So as an initial matter, counsel, will you place your appearances on the record, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. Lauren McNabb, APA Kent County, on behalf of Petitioner Kimberly Jones.
And good afternoon, Attorney Evan Hebert on behalf of the respondent, Lakeisha Kearney.
Very good. And Ms. McNabb, since this is the trial of the matter, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Ms. Jones.
Very well, Ms. Jones, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth? I can't hear you, Ms. Jones. I'm not sure if your audio's on or muted, maybe.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
And do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Very good. You may proceed, Ms. McNabb.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, could you please just state your name for the record?
Mona Jones?
And you are the petitioner in this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you request a personal protection order from the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall roughly what day that was granted?
It was sometime in January.
Okay, if I told you January 13th, does that sound right?
It does.
Okay.
Roughly, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
And you had Miss Kearney served with that PPO, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and was that also in January?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask that the court just take notice of the dates of January 13th for granting of the PPO and January 16th for service.
Very well. I would take a notice. You may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, did you file a motion to show cause in this matter?
Regarding the violation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can you tell me about that evening that caused you to file the motion?
I went out to karaoke with some friends, so a karaoke event with some friends for someone's birthday. And probably about a good 20, 30 minutes of being there, I saw Miss Kearney and two friends walk in, and they just sat in the back of the room as if they were waiting, I guess. I don't know. They didn't participate in karaoke. They just sat in the back of the room throughout the duration. The security guard is a common friend of me and Miss Kearney. And as the evening ended and we were walking outside, he served me papers that he got from Miss Kearney that evening. It was her motion to dismiss the order of protection. And at the time that we walked out is the time that they walked out. And once they got in the parking lot, they started yelling, "Scary B, Scary B," because I was upset with him. I was having a heated conversation with him, telling him he should have stayed out of it, being a common friend, but he wasn't aware of the whole situation. So they started yelling, "Scary B, Scary B." And so I didn't call the police that evening. I called them the next morning to file a police report. They said I should have called that evening, but it's my friend's birthday.
Right. So where were you served the papers, in the restaurant or outside in the parking lot?
At the door. We were walking out the door, and so he did it right at the door as they were walking out as well.
And how long would you say you were paused at the door having this conversation?
Be about a good 4 to 6 minutes.
Okay.
And then he snapped a picture, handing me the photos, and then he walked towards her to escort her to her car.
Okay. And when he walked away, what did you do?
I was yelling. I was upset. I was talking to my friends, yelling about this situation. I'm cussing and fussing, like, how dare he, this and that. They like, "Scary B, Scary B." I'm like, ain't nobody scary. No, nobody wants to fight. We're grown. I'm yelling. I'm so upset at this point, obviously. I almost felt like because of we weren't on time for the event and her coming in so shortly after, I don't know. I felt like somebody called her and told her I was there, but I don't know. It's not something I delved into.
Okay. Did you begin walking towards your car or?
No, no,
Okay. Did Miss Kearney have any other contact with you?
not directly, not just indirectly. I just through other people since
Okay.
then.
And when you were you yelling at her I put his name down and I forgot, at the security guard, or were you just yelling
Kevin.
to your friends? Kevin?
I was yelling at Kevin. The other young lady that was with her was my previous friend of 30 years, Stacia. I was yelling at her. I am yelling at Kevin. The young lady whose birthday it is Kevin's god sister. We're like, I'm yelling, like how, why?
Okay. But you weren't addressing Miss Kearney.
No, I addressed
Objection leading.
Apologies. Who are you addressing?
Stacia. I don't think I called her name. I think that whoever when she yelled "Scary B," I definitely said, "Ain't nobody scary."
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Mr. Hebert.
Thank you, Your Honor. And good afternoon, Ms. Jones. My name is Evan Hebert. I am Lakeisha's attorney. I'm going to ask you some questions. If you don't mind, I wanted to ask for some ground rules. If you don't hear the question that I ask, because I know we're on Zoom and everything, just let me know, because I might cut out or something, and then I'll repeat the question. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
And you understand you're under oath today, so all of the answers that you provide, they have to be the complete truth.
Yes, sir.
And if you could do me one last favor when you're answering questions, please try to provide an audible response like yes or no in the form of words, rather than something like which doesn't translate very well when the court reporter has to make a transcript of the hearing. Can you do that for me?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. So I just wanted to get a little bit of background about this situation. Fair to say you were friends before with Miss Kearney, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you went to the same church together.
Correct.
And you've been on a cruise with her and several other friends before.
Yes, sir.
And this situation soured after she asked for her house key back from you after your friendship was going through a troubled patch. Is it fair to say that?
Yes, sir.
And did you ever give her a key back?
Yes, sir.
And how soon was that prior to you filing for the PPO?
That was
Excuse me, Judge, we lost respondent.
The joys of Zoom.
She just texted me that she got cut out and she's trying to log back in.
Very good. Looks like we do have Miss Kearney back, so you may proceed, Mr. Hebert.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I think where we had left off was we were talking about the cruise. That was in October of 2024, correct?
correct. The last question you asked me when I gave her the key back, I think.
And so after October, she had asked for her key back between October and November.
Yes, it would. I believe it was early November. It was before her birthday, or after. I'm sorry, I take that back. It was after her birthday.
And then the events that caused you to file for the personal protection order occurred between November and December of 2024.
Correct. And I gave her her key back on Friday, November 22nd.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the timeline, the cruise and prior to filing for the PPO. So was there an argument between the two of you during that cruise?
No,
Was there time that after that you guys did a trunk or treat together at church?
it was for, I'm a event planner. We did a trunk or treat as an event.
Okay.
It wasn't church related.
Understandable. Thank you for correcting me. Were any of the events that you did together at the Candied Yam?
No,
And the Candied Yam, I should clarify for the court, that's the location that we're talking about in the event that brought us here today, correct?
correct,
And that's in a restaurant and event space.
correct.
And you had you been there before this event?
The candied yam, not since it's been the candied yam, no.
Okay. And when did it become the Candied Yam?
I don't know. Whenever
Okay.
they purchased the building.
A couple
I don't
years
know.
ago.
I don't think it's been that long.
Okay.
When I was growing up, it was a club. It was a nightclub on the corner of Division in Delaware. So I don't know
Mhm.
when they.
Fair enough. Like I said, if you don't know an answer, you don't have to tell me the answer. But okay, so there was an event going on for karaoke at the Candied Yam.
Correct.
This was the first time that you had been there for one of those karaoke events.
Yes.
And you went with a friend.
A few
What
friends.
What were the names of the people that you went with?
Camille, Todd, Lisa, Todd, Burley, Hobson, and that's who I traveled there with. And then some other people met us there at the table for Lisa's birthday.
That's Lisa, Todd.
Correct.
And who made the decision that the birthday would be celebrated at Candied Yam?
I don't know. Probably her. I mean, I think it had to been her. Originally she wasn't going to go out because her wife's mom had just passed away.
So you weren't the one who said, let's go to Candied Yam.
No.
You didn't find a flyer or something for this karaoke event.
Well, they have flyers. Yeah, flyers all around. I don't really go out, so I just went out for her birthday.
And prior to being there, your testimony is that you did not know that Keisha was going to be there.
Correct.
And you did not see her when you arrived.
Correct.
But your testimony is that you believe that she arrived after you.
Yes, I saw her walk in after me. Her and the other two people she was with.
Were you aware of her ever having worked there or anything like that?
At the Candied Yam?
Yes.
Not in the 2 years that I've known her.
Had the event space of the Candied Yam been open for very long, if you know?
No, no. I'm an event planner and decorator, so I kind of keep up with the event spaces aspect. I don't know when the restaurant opened, but the event space itself, a few months had to been. I can't tell you the exact dates, but I'm sure there's
It hadn't been open for very long, fair
No,
to say.
no. This was a
And
fairly new event, like a few months of a fairly new event.
so you had no expectation that that she was going to be there.
Absolutely not, no.
And conversely, you had not posted your location anywhere or told her that that's where you were going to be.
No,
Okay. And so the two of you meeting, you would agree in that location, to the extent that you met there. It sounds like, let me ask you this first. There wasn't any conversation inside of the Candied Yam. The events that you've just described, they all took place in the parking lot, correct?
correct. At the
So-
entrance of the door in the parking lot.
So fair to say the both of you being at that location at that time was a chance event.
You could say that. I'm not sure.
You have no reason to believe it was planned out.
Again, considering how shortly of a time she walked in after me, like I previously stated, I didn't investigate, but I felt like someone may have told her I was there because they
But-
didn't participate.
You don't have any personal knowledge of that.
Correct.
Someone telling her something else. Okay. You said they didn't participate. You mean she didn't do karaoke?
Correct.
And so did you do karaoke?
I sang when my friend sang. I was standing up singing with her at the table, you know, getting her hype. It's her birthday.
So
hype.
let's and I just want to set the scene a little bit. This event space, it's kind of like a gymnasium. Is that fair to say?
I would say banquet style, maybe 80 people, auditorium style seating, 125.
So
130?
up to 125 people were there, you said?
No, I'm giving you as far as the capacity, what the potential capacity would be, in order to give you somewhat of an idea of the size of the building.
So it's a big event space.
It's a nice size.
All right. And how many people would you say were there?
Probably about a good 20 to 30, maybe 40. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
It wasn't packed. It was nowhere near filled to where it could have been.
You did not go up to Lakeisha's table during this event,
Not at all.
and vice versa. She did not come up to your table and talk to you during this event.
Correct.
And so the event, what time did it end?
I don't know. I'm not aware. I'm sorry. I don't foresee them allowing anything past 11 or midnight. I don't.
What time did you leave?
I don't even know if I have any way of recourse of knowing that.
So Miss Jones, I
We
don't
left
know
when
if you're
it was fairly over.
okay, and I didn't want you looking at your phone to check anything or anything like that. I'm just asking what you remember. Is that fair?
Oh, okay.
So you
No,
don't
I
have any materials with you to refresh your memory or anything like that. Miss McNabb may follow up with you about some things, but I don't want you to look at any other extraneous materials while we're here in court today. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. So, okay, you said that you were leaving about when it ended, the event.
Correct.
Were a lot of other people leaving at the same time?
I believe there were other people. I just know the people from our table were leaving at that time. But again, the gentleman served me papers and took a picture of me. And from what I understand, there has to be a time and stamp on that. So that would be reference to when we left.
That's
Okay.
very helpful. Thank you. So that's what you're saying is another gentleman, I think you said his name was Keith, correct? Kevin, excuse me. Kevin came up and served you with the papers.
Yes.
And that upset you.
Absolutely. I think that Kevin should have stayed neutral, being that he's both our friends.
And it made you kind of lash out at Kevin.
I definitely had a conversation with Kevin. Yes, I was upset with Kevin.
Okay. And you said you were yelling and cussing at Kevin.
Yes, I was.
And this was all out in the parking lot, not inside of the venue.
This is at the entrance of the venue, so close to the entrance that the door is still open.
May I share my screen, Your Honor?
You may.
Just 1 second, Your Honor.
Very well.
Miss Jones, did you consume any alcohol on this evening?
No, I don't drink.
Did you go up to the bar at all?
No,
Do they serve food at this location?
the Candy Yam is a restaurant.
Was the event was it a potluck or something where they were serving food?
I didn't see any food out. I believe you could place an order for food, but I didn't see any sitting out like potluck style.
Did you yourself attempt to approach Miss Kearney during this incident?
No,
So you said you said that somebody was yelling "Scary B" at you. Did you yell anything back?
yes, I did. I said, I ain't no scary bee. I don't want to fight. We're grown.
So you said, I don't want to fight, we're grown. Was that challenging someone to a fight?
Would you take that as a challenge?
I don't know. It kind of depends on how the person said it, but I'm asking you.
I don't want to fight. We're grown.
So nobody had offered to fight you. Is that fair?
That she has offered to fight me.
I'm
That is
talking
the
about on this date at the Candied Yam.
no, just on the text messages that she sent, which allowed me to place the PPO, the order of protection.
So why did you think that there might be a fight if she was walking out to her car? You were the one who was in an argument with the security guard, and she was being escorted away from you.
Had not been escorted away from me yet if I was arguing with him at the door. If she did not want any problems, then she would have just walked out and got in her car and left. Nobody was initially speaking to her. I was speaking directly to Kevin.
Okay,
And
you
when
said
she
she would
started
have.
yelling, his sister said, just walk away, Kevin. Go get her. Or something like that. I can't remember her exact verbiage. And I don't even remember which one of his sisters said it. And then that's when he went towards her.
Do you know a person named Jamal?
He was, I believe, one of the hosts.
At the Candied Yam?
Yes,
Did you see Jamal in the parking lot?
I did not. That's not saying he wasn't there. I didn't see him though.
If I told you that you called the non-emergency line at 12:24 a.m., would you agree with that?
No, I called the next day. Like when I woke up.
You don't recall having a conversation with a police officer that evening
No, I did
in
not.
the middle of the night?
No.
Have you ever tried to have contact with Miss Kearney on a different date?
No.
I know the two of you said you go to church together.
Correct.
You've continued going to church with her.
That's my church. I invited her.
And my understanding is that Judge Rossi had permitted that. Was that your understanding as well?
Yes.
Court's separation of church and state and all that. You understand that, right?
I understand, but it has caused more problems.
Okay. So have you tried to confront Keisha in the parking lot after church services?
No.
Have you stood by her car intentionally to try and prevent her from leaving?
No.
Have you ever followed her in your car while she was driving home from church
No.
or any other time?
Never.
And you're telling the court under oath today that when this event took place at the Candied Yam, you made no effort to move towards Keisha.
No, I don't want to fight.
You did not address her as she was leaving. That's
No.
your testimony.
Correct.
And you're saying at some point you did address her in response to someone else yelling, "Scary B."
Faith and I have been friends for 30 years. Keisha and I for 20. For 2. I'm sorry, for 2 years. I know who's yelling Scary B.
That wasn't my question, though. My question was that prior to that, you had not yelled anything, said anything, done anything directed towards Keisha.
Correct.
Okay. And would you agree that this happened around midnight?
when you previously asked, I told you I didn't know and that there would be reference on the papers that were served to me.
You can't tell me the time.
I don't see their event lasting anything past midnight, so it had to be between 11 and midnight, I'm sure.
And you also said you left as most of the other people were leaving, like towards the end of the event.
I said I left when the event was mostly over. I believe it was mostly over.
And then while you were having the argument with the security guard outside about the paperwork, were there other people coming and going? Anybody else leaving?
Remember, I did say that his sisters were there, the other people that were sit at the table, and then I have witnesses today that were there, right there at that time.
What about how many people were coming and going?
I don't know, sir.
All right. So if I said that you had received the papers and then waited in the parking lot for Keisha, would that be a true statement?
Not at all.
But you knew that she was there inside the building when you were outside the building having the conversation with Kevin.
I knew she was there. I was at the entrance having a conversation with Kevin.
Right by the door.
Yep, the door was open. Yes, sir.
Just as a housekeeping matter, Your Honor, this is kind of like a map, but I guess I would move to admit this photograph. It's a photo of candidyam.png. I'd be happy to forward it to the court when we're finished today.
Any objection, Ms. McNabb?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, it may be admitted.
Thank you. That's all I have for this witness right now.
Any redirect, Ms. McNabb?
Just very briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Jones, how long would you say all this took between you getting served, you yelling, and then everyone getting in their car and leaving?
Probably anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. It wasn't long.
That is the wrong paper I'm looking at. And then I guess, who was yelling scary bitch?
I heard Lakeisha yelling it.
Can't hear anything.
Okay. And you heard and Miss Kearney's voice?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Honor. I have no further questions.
Any follow-ups, Mr. Hebert?
No, Your Honor.
Very good then. Thank you, Ms. Jones. You may step down. Any additional witnesses at this time, Ms. McNabb?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Lisa Beichum or Lisa Todd.
You bring her in.
And Evan, if you could stop sharing your screen. It's making it very difficult for me to see everybody. There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very well. And Ms. Todd, if you could unmute and raise your right hand.
I'm Beichum.
Beichum, I'm sorry, Ms. Beichum. Yeah. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Very good. You may lower your hand, Ms. McNabb. You may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Beichum, could you please state your name?
Lisa Beichum.
Okay. And Ms. Beichum, do you have is there another last name someone might call you by?
I'm married, but I never changed my name.
Okay. And what is your spouse's name?
Todd. Camille Todd.
And do you know Miss Jones and Miss Kearney?
I know Jones. I
Okay.
don't personally know the other party.
Okay. So I want to ask you some questions about, I guess was it your birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Can you walk me through what happened that evening?
We went to karaoke at, I think it's called Candied Yam. And it was me and several friends and family members. We had been there for about an hour, and the other party walked in with two other people and went and sat in the back of the venue. They never interacted with us, so I didn't think it would be an issue. But as we were leaving, that's when we were stopped at the door and Kimona was handed some papers. And then we walked to our car and I heard the other party on the case yelling some profanities from her car. And then we pulled off and left.
Okay. And by the other party, do you mean Miss Kearney?
Yes.
Okay. What was Miss Jones doing after she was served papers?
We walked her to the car simply because I didn't know what was going on. And she was a guest of mine and I wanted to make sure that she got to her car safely.
Okay. Was there any discussion following?
No. We walked out. The bouncer said, he called her name. He said Kimona, and then he handed her the papers. And then I kind of put two and two together on what was going on because that's how you serve somebody. So we walked her to the car, and I already knew that they weren't supposed to have contact with each other prior to us going to karaoke, but they weren't there when we arrived, and they didn't leave after they seen us there. So I don't know.
Okay. Did Miss Jones have a discussion with the bouncer?
I don't know exactly what was said. I do know the bouncer said he didn't know that's what he was being asked to do.
And what was this a relatively calm discussion or?
That was, but do you say, is it Kearney? Is that how you say her name?
I believe so, yes.
She was not calm at all. She was actually pretty aggressive walking to her car and yelling some stuff from her car. She was parked kind of like directly in front of our car, which was another reason why we got Kimona to her car and she left and we followed after she left to make sure she got out of the parking lot.
Did you ever hear Miss Jones say anything to Miss Kearney?
No.
Okay. Did she ever walk towards Miss Kearney or?
No.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any follow-ups to Mr. Hebert?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. And good afternoon, Ms. Beichum. My name is Evan Hebert. I am Ms. Kearney's attorney. I have a couple of questions for you. If you do me a favor, if you don't know the answer to one of my questions, please say, I don't know. Don't just try to answer or speculate. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
And if you can't hear me, do you mind letting me know?
Yes.
And do you mind giving me verbal answers rather than nodding your head or saying, mm-hmm?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You understand you're under oath today.
Yes.
And that means that you've sworn to tell the truth, correct?
Correct.
Now, just kind of talk about this situation. This was your birthday at the Candied Yam, correct?
Correct.
Who decided to go to the Candied Yam?
Me.
And before going to the Candied Yam, did you have any information that Keisha would be there?
No.
And did you see her car in the parking lot when you arrived?
No, there were only like 4 cars in the parking lot when we got there. We were actually one of the first parties to arrive.
And then all the contact that you witnessed between Ms. Jones and Ms. Kearney occurred after the event was over in the parking lot.
Correct.
And you indicated that you left with Miss Jones. The two of you were together.
Yes.
And then the security guard stopped her and gave her some papers.
Correct.
He served her with papers.
Correct.
And then you said that they had a conversation, and then you and Miss Jones went to her car.
Correct.
And that was before Keisha walked out.
I can't remember if she came out first or after us.
Well, that's a pretty important detail. So you do remember walking Miss Jones to her car, correct?
Yes. When we walked her to the car, Keisha was already in her vehicle.
And so you said that the contact that took place involved her, Keisha, yelling out of her vehicle.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember what kind of vehicle she was in?
No. It was a darker blue or black car.
Did you see her go to her vehicle?
No.
So where were you standing when this event took place?
Which event?
The interaction in the parking lot.
I was standing by my vehicle, which was near Kimona's vehicle as well.
So you're standing by your vehicle. Was that when the papers were served?
No, we were served papers as we were walking out of the venue.
So I just want to kind of break this down a little bit. You're served the papers, you're by the door to the venue, correct?
Correct.
And if I might share my screen, Your Honor.
You may.
Do you see a photograph, Miss Beichum?
Yes.
And do you recognize this location as the Candied Yam?
Yes.
And do you see the door on the left?
Yes.
That's the door that we're referring to, correct?
Yes.
And then the parking lot kind of goes towards the back where you see the wooden fence in the back.
Correct.
And there's more parking spaces over there.
Correct.
Okay, so the service of the paperwork happened at the door.
Correct.
There was a conversation that took place between Miss Jones and the person who served her the papers.
Correct.
And that was just a conversation.
Yes.
You're saying it was a civil interaction.
Yes.
And then you walked to your car?
Yes.
And were you with Miss Jones when you walked to your car?
Yes.
And then you're saying that's when Keisha came out.
I'm saying that Keisha was already yelling from her vehicle as we walked to my vehicle. As we're having a conversation with the bouncer, I'm not paying attention to where Keisha was. At that point, I'm concerned about what's going on with the papers.
So the first time that you saw Keisha or heard Keisha, she was already at her car.
Correct.
Was she with anyone else?
In her car? No.
Was there anyone else present for this interaction besides you and Miss Jones and Keisha?
Camille was present.
Okay. Who's Camille?
She's the other witness on the case.
Is she like a friend of yours?
She's my wife.
Your wife. Thank you. You had already said that. I appreciate that. Camille Todd.
Correct.
Anybody else?
There were other patrons that were leaving, but they weren't with me personally.
Was there anyone else from security that you witnessed?
No.
Just the one person that served the papers?
Correct.
You said that there were some profanities yelled. Did you at any point during this interaction hear Miss Jones use any profane language
No,
at any point?
no,
And you were with her the whole time from the time that she walked out the door to the time she got in her car.
correct.
And did you hear you said also that Keisha was using profanity.
Correct.
Okay, what did she say?
I heard her call her a soft ass bitch. And at that point, I just was pushing Kimona to leave and get out the area because at that point, things were escalating and I didn't know what was going on.
You said you were pushing Kimona.
Like urging her to get in the car and go home so that we could
Okay.
follow her.
So was she if you're pushing her, that implies that she's kind of
I'm not physically pushing her. I'm urging
Yeah.
her to get in the vehicle so that we can follow her home.
So you did that because you were concerned that she would you use the word escalate with Keisha.
I mean, if somebody's screaming profanities at you, of course it's going to escalate. So for her safety, I wanted to get her home.
And the was anyone else yelling anything during this time?
No, not that I can recall.
And you saw that Keisha, your testimony is that she was alone.
In her car, yes.
Okay. And what about when she walked out?
She came with 2 other individuals. They left together as well.
And so, well, previously you said that there were no other people in the parking lot that you were aware of. Do you know these other 2 individuals that she was with?
I know who they are, yes.
Okay.
Do I
And
personally have relationships with them? No.
who are they?
Jeremy and Stacia.
Was anybody else present?
There were other people leaving karaoke. As I stated before, I don't know everybody who was there.
What time did this take place?
A little after 1.
That'd be 1 in the morning, right?
Correct.
What time did the event end?
What?
The event at the Candied Yam, the karaoke event, right? You said it was over at the time that you left.
Correct.
What time did it end?
1 o'clock.
And so you said this all happened a little after 1 a.m. How much time did you spend with Miss Jones in the parking lot prior to seeing Keisha in her car?
No longer than 5 minutes because she was parked directly across from me.
When you said she, who are you referring to? Miss Jones?
Lakeisha was parked across from our car.
And then Lakeisha left first.
We left. I don't know when Lakeisha left.
Well, you were in your car when she was in her car. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
So did you see her car pull out of the parking lot?
After we left, I didn't pay attention to her car.
Okay, so do
I don't know how I would see that if I'm leaving.
Well, do you know who left first? That's my question.
We left.
Okay, you're saying you left first.
I'm saying we left. I don't know when Lakeisha left. You're asking me a question. I don't know when she left.
Okay,
I
but
know when we left.
you had identified her vehicle, right?
Yes.
You had seen her in that vehicle.
Yes.
You just testified that this was right next to your vehicle, but you
And
don't
no,
know
I did
when she
not. I
left.
said she was across from my vehicle. I did not say she was next to me.
But you could see her vehicle from your vehicle.
Correct.
But you still can't tell me who left first,
We pulled off.
right? Before or after Keisha left?
I don't know when she pulled off in her car.
How many times would you say you've talked to Miss Jones about this incident?
When she asked would I be willing to testify.
Okay, when was that?
I don't know, months ago.
And so at that time you talked to her about what happened?
No, she just asked me would I be willing to testify as to the events that happened that night.
Have you gone over your testimony with anyone else?
No, because it's not really a testimony. I'm just recounting the events.
Okay, have you gone over the events with anybody else?
No,
Are you still friends with Miss Jones?
yes.
Were you ever friends with Miss Kearney? I believe you said you were not.
No, I do not know her personally.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all that I have for now.
Any follow-up questions, Ms. McNabb?
Just very briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Beecham, did you and Ms. Jones ride together to this event?
No. We picked her up from, well, we didn't pick her up, but we drove to her house and then we followed each other to the venue. And then we followed her home and then we went home.
Okay. So when you left the venue, Ms. Jones also left the venue?
Correct.
Okay. And then were you involved at all with Ms. Jones's conversation with the security guard?
No, I noticed she wasn't behind me as I started to walk off, and then I walked back over to figure out what was going on. And that's when I seen she had some papers in her hand. And then the security guard was saying that they didn't know that this was what they were being asked to do.
Okay. And at that point, what did you do?
Um, we walked towards, well, when you come out of the building, you go to the left to the parking lot. We walked to our car. Kimona was parked right near us. And we followed her home.
Mm. All right, no further questions. Thank you.
And Mr. Heber, any further questions?
No, Your Honor, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Very good, then thank you. You may step down, Ms. Beecham. And Ms. McNabb, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. One last one. I'd like to call Ms. Todd.
Very well. Ms. Todd, if you'd raise your right hand.
Oh, she hasn't been brought
Oh,
in yet.
not on yet. Ms. Todd, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. McNabb.
Thank you. Ms. Todd, could you please state your name?
Camille Todd.
All right. And
I'm sorry, I hate to interject. Is this witness in the same room as the last witness? I just want to make sure we're doing sequestration.
No, I'm in my car.
Okay. Thank you. I apologize for interjecting. Just want to make sure we're all following the rules.
You may proceed, Ms. McNabb.
thank you. Ms. Todd, were you at the Candied Yam for your wife's birthday?
I was.
All right. Can you tell me what happened?
We got there. We sat at a table. It was a group of us, and we was sitting there, and the person who Kimona served walked in the building and walked towards the back of the building and sat down with two people that she came in with. You know, towards the end of the night, we walked out and Kimona was served with paperwork. And we went to the car and we went home.
Okay. Was there any conversation when she was served the paperwork?
So when she served the paperwork, I was walking up a little bit, so I turned around and I seen she, had got the paperwork. So I don't know if there was any conversation.
Okay. Did you hear anybody with elevated voices?
Did I hear anybody with elevated voices?
Did you hear anybody yelling?
I personally didn't hear any yelling, no.
Okay. And did you hear anything Miss Kearney said?
No.
Okay. And around what time were you all leaving?
That was so long ago. But I want to say it got over like 12:30, 1 o'clock. But I'm not for sure. I don't know for certain the time.
Okay. And how long were y'all, your group, in the parking lot after walking out the door?
I would say like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, if that, because after Kimona was served that paperwork, we went to our car, got her in her car, and we followed each other home.
All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Hebert?
Good afternoon, Miss Todd.
Hi.
My name's Evan Hebert. I am Miss Kearney's attorney.
Okay.
You were in the parking lot the whole time between leaving the building and Miss Jones getting in her car and driving away?
I was.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very good. Any follow-ups, Ms. McNabb?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very good. Then, thank you, Ms. Todd. You may step down from the
you.
witness stand. Any additional witnesses or evidence at this time, Ms. McNabb?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hebert, do you have any witnesses or evidence that you may present at this time?
Your Honor, we do have witnesses and evidence that we would like to present. Keisha is here, but we don't have all of our witnesses today, and we're coming up on 4 o'clock. What I would like to do is split this, since it seems that with our other witnesses, we're probably going to go over the time allotted anyways. And there had been some confusion Keisha had about when court was, and so we don't have all of our witnesses present. So we would ask the court to let us give us another date to come back and present all of our witnesses at the same time, rather than doing Keisha now and then the others later.
Any objection to proceeding in that manner, Ms. McNabb?
No, Your Honor. I'd rather deal with all the witnesses at once as well.
That makes sense to me too. All right, very well. Then we'll adjourn today's hearing pending a continuation. Lisa, do we have a date and time for that?
I do have some options. Do you want to do this on the record, or?
No, why don't we bring counsel, why don't we go off the record, have counsel come in, and we'll coordinate dates with them, and then we can either send out notice or have them notify their clients.
Thank you. Miss Jones, let me know if you can see what I'm sharing with you.
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize this location?
Yes, sir.
And is this location the Candied Yam?
Today, yes.
When you say today, are you referring to that it might look a little different now?
Yes, it does.
Because this is while it was under construction?
Correct.
And do you see kind of where I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I tried to zoom in. Do you see the top left where there's a address?
The address is blurry, but I see that box up there.
Okay. Is it fair to say that this is a accurate picture of the location of the parking lot where you're saying this contact took place?
Correct. You see where the doors are? The black doors are? That's the entrance. That's where we were standing.
So you were standing in that location, having a heated argument with the
Kevin,
person who served you the papers, Kevin.
correct.
And so you're right by the door.
Correct.
And that's the door that you are testifying that Keisha exited out of.
Yes.
And you mentioned someone escorting her to her car.
After me and Kevin and I were arguing, and his sisters, the other people at the table were his sisters. So in their efforts to diffuse the situation, they told Kevin to walk away. So Kevin walked towards the parking lot and started escorting Lakeisha to her car. But she was, you see where the black portion of the building ends?
Yes, you may continue.
Okay, that's when they were yelling, scary B, and that's when he came that way and to kind of guide her to her car.
Okay, so you said they were yelling. Do you know who specifically they was that was yelling?
Lakeisha and Stacia.
Was there anyone else with them besides Lakeisha, Stacia, and Kevin?
Kevin wasn't necessarily with them, but also Stacia's boyfriend was with them.
Do you know his name?
His name is Jay.
Was there anyone else as far as security from the Candied Yam who was with her that you recall?
Not that I recall.
So how many people total are in this parking lot when this event takes place?
This was heated or I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. That wasn't a scan in my head. I'm sorry.
The your understanding, your testimony today is that the contact that took place was her yelling. She didn't have any physical contact with you, correct?
Correct.
And all of this happened as she was walking out the exit door and going to her car.
Correct.
And it was after she had somebody else serve you with the paperwork.
Correct.
She did not serve you with any paperwork herself.
No, sir.
And and ostensibly the purpose of that would be so that you two wouldn't have contact. Would you agree?
That's the rules. Yes.
Okay. So you're not saying that she violated the PPO by having someone else serve you.
I'm stating she violated when she came and saw me. I do feel like she should have left. I feel like it was an intimidation tactic because this is something that I've witnessed her do to other people. And this is what I explained to Mrs. McNabb. I am I'm being harassed consistently. Is this subtle? Absolutely. But does this play into the calculation of the things that I am going through since November? Definitely.
So, but in this parking lot, on this event that we're here to discuss today, you were out in the parking lot having a argument with another person.
I was at the entrance of the venue having an argument with Kevin.
In the places where people would normally exit that location.
She could have exited after. She could have exited before.
You're saying that she could have exited after you. But
There's
she
another
did she not? She exited after you exited. It wasn't at the same time. That was your testimony, correct?
She was right there. She could have went out the other exit in the back of the building.
Did you say, did you open the door inside and say, hey, I'm still here?
No, I was pretty loud. I'm pretty sure as she approached the door, Again, this is an assumption, but I'm pretty sure
Well,
she
hold on, Miss Jones. We don't want you to make assumptions, okay? I'm
You're
gonna
right.
ask you some more questions about what you're aware of. We don't want you to make assumptions. So before you do that, I think I'm gonna have to cut you off. But I do have a couple other things to ask. You said that you did not call the police or file a police report the evening that this took place. Is that correct?
correct.
Have you been back to the Candied Yam since this time?
No,
And when you were served, that happened right at the door.
yes.
And so, where did you go after Miss Kearney left?
My car.
And so, did you like was your car near where her car was? You said you saw her get in her car.
I didn't say that. I said I saw him guide her to her vehicle, but she got in and pulled off. She pulled off. I did see her pull off before I pulled off.
So she didn't stick around in her car waiting for you.
No,
And you can
he wouldn't
recognize,
let her.
well, you recognize what vehicle she drives, right?
We have the exact same vehicle, just a different color.
Who bought it first?
What?
Like, did you have it first or did she have it first?
I bought my car after her, I guess.
Okay, so what car is it? Like, what kind of car, make and model?
It is a 2019 Chevy Malibu.
So she drove off in her Chevy Malibu. Did you see her Chevy Malibu in the parking lot when you were coming into the parking lot?
No,
And you arrived in your Chevy Malibu?
yes.